Can we stop saying you were blindsided?
You probably said it was a year and you broke up before.
Right. If you say in the same sentence, we were in an on-again, off-again relationship, and then I was blindsided,
right.
You sound crazy.
Hello, and welcome to a very special Friday Feels episode of the U Up Podcast. I'm Jordana Abraham.
And I am Jared Freed. And as many of you know, but maybe the new listeners don't,
yes.
It is releasing on February 21st, February 20th for subscribers,
yes.
but we'll go by the date that we are releasing. And
if you don't know this date, you haven't been listening very long.
Right. And I'm happy you're here. We love a new listener, but today is my birthday.
It's not just any birthday.
It's
not just any birthday. It's a big one.
It is my 40th. I can't even believe
How do you feel saying it out loud?
It's weird to say out loud. It is weird to say it's my 40th birthday. And famously, I don't know, should we play the clip? Do we play it every year? It's weird because it's coming out on the 21st. The bit is from, we were taping on, it was during the pandemic times.
I think it was like 2021 maybe.
I was in Florida. It was 2021. Yeah. I was in Boca at my parents' house. We're doing remote. And we start the tape, and I'm like, hey, how are you, Jordana? And you're like,
I'm okay.
It's February 21st. I feel like, and you go on and on.
You're like, I feel like it's just like, this is the worst day of the year. February 21st, the worst day.
On and on. I'm like letting Jordana wax on about how bad the February 21st is. And then I revealed to her that
you were like digging, you were like really letting me hang myself. You were like,
I
tell me more.
Every second.
Tell me more about
what else do you think of February 21st? Yeah. And then I revealed it was my birthday.
So we call it the worst day of the year.
We have a sign. If you're watching on YouTube, we have an artwork that shows the worst day of the year.
One day that we can really highlight this artwork.
Right. And now I'm turning 40.
Yes.
An old man.
And I was saying, I can already tell. I mean, we're taping a couple weeks early, but we've said this before on this podcast. 40 is what 30 is to women.
I really think you're right.
I'm already getting the I must speak to the manager energy from you.
Yeah, that's right.
Even just recording about your 40th birthday.
I don't take shit anymore. I'm 40. Yeah. I got no time. I'm almost dead. I'm closer to death.
Yeah.
Than I am to life.
No, you're not.
Well, I gotta get it all in.
If you live to 100.
I'm not wasting any time. I'm not living to 100.
You might. Maybe not with your sleep schedule.
Yeah, with all this travel.
What do men say about your 40s? Because I feel like the age specific wisdom about decades is really gendered.
Well,
you know what I mean?
It's interesting because I'm thinking now, I'm like, man, I don't really talk to a lot of men.
Maybe I should get some friends in my 40s.
Right, maybe that would help me out. No, the age thing, it comes up, but it doesn't. Like, it's all ball busty. It's all like...
Women are always telling each other about how great the next decade is of life. If you thought your 20s stink, your 30s is where it's at. It's like,
right.
Is it? I don't know.
No,
they're
your
fine.
70s is where you really come into your own. No,
they say that. They say,
really?
Yeah, your 50s. I think the idea...
Women do a lot of back patting. I mean, the amount of panels that women go on... I think living in New York City as a woman is just being on a panel and watching a panel and then being on a panel and not watching a panel. How many panels have you done?
I've done probably a dozen panels in my life.
I just tweeted before this. I was like, I want to go to a panel of all the people making money from the panels.
Well, let me tell you something about a panel. No one has ever learned anything from watching a panel. And I say this having done panels, having watched panels. No one has ever learned
Is that
anything.
a New York City
We were on a
thing?
panel in Cannes.
We were on a panel in Cannes.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us, Spotify.
Have you ever been like, I learned that from watching the panel?
No, I've never gone to one. I just know Has
anyone ever said to you, I've learned something from watching a panel?
All I've heard from people is I have a panel. Like
I've heard
you were on a panel. I know you guys, so you guys do a lot of panels. I know there's a few other women that I know that are like big panel people.
A panel is the female version of a circle jerk. It's just me congratulating you on your success, and then you congratulate me on my success.
I'm not even sure if anyone's successful on these panels.
And then we all congratulate each other and say how great it is to to be here, how honored we are to be successful and here.
And we get to wear pantsuits. Maybe this is the death of the panel. I can't see what anyone would garner from a woman or a person. Sorry to gender this, but it just seems like a lot of women are like at panels all the time.
If panels
well, there's not a lot
tomorrow.
of like, here are the up and coming straight men you need to hear from panel these days. Like,
would you want to be on that panel?
This is my panel. This podcast. This is my. I
think how many people do you need to make a panel?
3 makes a panel.
No, I think sometimes. I guess 2 is a talk.
2
is a talk. 3 is a panel.
Right. 4 is a
4 is a conference.
I don't know. Yeah. So I'm 40. I started my 40th year or whatever it is.
41st year around the sun.
40 of that.
To be that annoying person.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'll definitely be.
You don't look 40. You look younger than 40.
Finally, you said it took you 10 minutes into this podcast. I did cry today watching The Wild Robot.
Okay.
It's a DreamWorks animation.
Oh, why were
movie.
you watching? Oh, you're on the plane.
I was on the plane coming back from LA.
Was it good?
It's a little heavy-handed with the messaging. Like, it's about a single mother who adopts a bird. A single mother wild robot who adopts a bird.
Okay.
After she accidentally kills the bird's whole family.
She kills the bird's whole family?
She falls
that sounds
on the
deep dark for a kid's movie.
I don't know how this is a kid's movie other than there being animals that talk. You know, it was
relate?
a power. No, I related to none of the message. The message of, like, you know, that he's got to work hard and nothing's really given to you, and there's that message, but and there's a little bit of a anti-tech thing going on, but I did cry during that. I'll definitely cry at some point on the flight to New Zealand, reminiscing, reflecting, all those things.
Right.
Yeah, if you're listening right now, I'm just on a flight alone crying. So,
well, happy birthday. I'm going to have something
Thank
for you by the time you get back from your trip.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll see.
It's not your birthday yet. We've got a couple. Or maybe I'll give it to you on our last episode before you go on your trip.
You could do that. I'm not a big, if you have something, that's okay. But don't feel pressure. I'm not a big gift
I know.
guy.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like you're going to like say you like whatever I get you, but you're actually going to be like, in your head, you're going to be like, I didn't really need this.
No,
I want this.
I need everything.
Do you have to give me a gift? Now you're going to think like it's a whole...
When you turn 40,
I'm never going to turn 40.
Yeah, 17 years from now.
I'm still 27. Yeah,
Just
in my
in
brain.
your dorm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like
anything you want to do differently in your 40s than your 30s.
Everything.
Everything.
Yeah. I no, not everything.
This is your decade. I feel it.
Is this it? This is the one. Yeah, I have hopes and dreams for my next phase of life. I'd like to be more, what you said, like less bullshit. Like I just want to
already feeling that from
concentrate less on
what other people think
hemming
of you.
and hawing of like, what do I do and just do what I want. And do what I want, take what I want.
No,
that's what I want.
It's true. I do feel like the older you get, though, the more people are like, that's why old people say like the most horrible things you've ever heard.
Right. I hope I don't do that.
They don't give a fuck. They're like on their way out.
Right. Age never really affected me except for the turn of the earth. Like I always was affected by that we are now, it was just a mileage point more than it was like I've gotten old. Do you know what I mean? Right. So that's the thing I deal with on a yearly basis. So like, did I do anything last year? Was it a good year? Was it a bad year? Yeah. You know, that always comes to mind.
And how was the year?
Okay.
Tough?
I think it was tough, if I'm thinking right now. Just so I feel like I'm sitting in neutral. I'm not
peak and
moving
pit?
forward. We could do a peak and pit. Peak. Cannes might have been it.
Cannes was really fun.
That was great.
That was a great trip.
Great, like,
smack
way to
in
break
the middle,
up the
too.
year.
Yeah.
Good crew on the beach. I don't know, my pit. Just like the indecision of it all. Like I even got an email the other day about like, do you want to move? Are you going to extend your lease? And like, I was like, I can't even make this decision. Like I'm like, Jared, just make a fucking move.
Well, what is your? People always say this, and I kind of hate it, so I'm gonna just pass it right on to you. It's like, what is your like gut telling you to do? And whenever people say that, I'm always like, I don't fucking know. Like, you think I know how much? I think I have any mind-body connection? Like, as if these things are working together.
Right. Yeah. So what does my gut say?
Yeah. What is your?
My gut says stop eating cheese. You can't handle it.
But where will you live?
Right. My gut is a little bit telling me to like get an adult space, and it's been telling me that for 2 years, and then I get like embarrassed that I'm still talking about this 2 years later. Like I'm like, I need to be living in an adult space where and a little bit of it is like, Florida does come to mind of like going down there and like having a space, but like, you know, but I my concern is that it doesn't, nothing changes. It's just the area.
There's no way to know
unless you do it.
Unless you do it, right? Like you could be right, but the best thing about doing something is that you don't have to think about it anymore. To me, like it's not right decision, wrong decision. A decision, half of it's luck, whether it's the right or wrong decision. To me, it's more like, all right, I made a move, and now I don't like have to. And when we talk about this, when you talk about like ending things with someone, it's like you feel good after, not because you're like, oh, like I'm 100% sure. You're just more like, I don't have to think about this anymore.
Forward motion.
Yes. Yeah. I've made a move.
You know, and it's also like it doesn't help that like I mean I'm like still a 40-year-old dreamer.
That's
like,
good.
Which is good, but I feel a little crazy. You feel a little crazy. Like, you know, I've put a lot aside to keep dreaming. You know, you put aside, like, I think, like, you know, when you get into a relationship, when you start a family, the dream is over. There's other dreams you got to tend to. So me continuing to dream is a little bit in the way of, like, going towards reality.
Not if you find a partner who supports your dreams.
I don't believe any partner supports dreams. I think partners
I think Mike
support
supports my dreams.
Does he?
I think so.
I don't think partners support dreams
because the dream is if you achieve your dreams, it's great for the whole couple,
right?
The whole family.
But also they go, we got things we got to do.
Right. I think you think it takes a lot more time
to be in a relationship
than it does. Maybe in
you
the
women
very
like a lot of stuff, a lot of plans.
I guess I don't know. I don't like them. Mike, we don't do anything. It's great,
right? Well, that would also take a lot off my mind too.
Right,
being in a relationship and like not, you know,
you might be able to focus more on your dreams because you won't have to be.
That is something I've thought of.
Right, dating people and then breaking up with them and then dating more people.
Do I go on the second date? Drinking?
I think it actually Kelly, the mystic said this, like it might free up your whole brain.
I think about this all the time. Kelly the mystic said I will be my best self in a relationship. And I think she is right.
I think she is right also.
I think I'm a better person, better comedian,
right.
better, but I'm
so
afraid. Right. I'm so afraid of choosing that wrong route.
Here's the thing.
But there's no wrong.
There's no wrong, and you can just the mantra for you for your 40s is everyone will be okay, and I'm just gonna do what makes sense for me, and I'm gonna go all in, and then whenever I want, you can always leave. You can always leave.
And this is my message to anyone in New Zealand and Australia. I'm gonna start this journey towards a real relationship after my trip. So if you're
don't fall in love with him
for casual summertime fling, summer love and having a blast.
It's your last hurrah.
This is it. This is it. We can dance on the Great Barrier Reef, and then I'm leaving, just like Joey Zuko.
Yes.
He went to Australia, and then she followed him all the way back to Rydell High.
You mean Danny Zuko?
Danny Zuko.
Danny Zuko. Yeah. I was like, who is Joey Zuko? Is that a comedian I don't know about?
Joey's
who
his
went
cousin.
to his big break.
Joey's like his fat cousin who does comedy, like me. No, Danny Zuko. Yeah. How did he end up in Australia on that trip?
She was in Australia.
Yeah, but he's there visiting, summer loving, having some fun. Also,
no, I think she came to visit. No,
is that what it was?
I thought she came.
It's somehow more normal for her to come here at that time.
Well, then she moves here.
Right. For an Australian during that year, like if you think of like Greece, like did she take a pirate ship here? Like
do you think she was going back to Australia? Imagine you have your high school fling, you start the first day of school. Bitch moved here.
What the fuck?
Thought we broke up.
Right. I thought I was out.
Right.
No one ever tells that story. You're right.
We should do how Wicked is like a retelling of The Wizard of Oz?
Yes,
we should do a retelling of Greece, right?
Is she pregnant? What the fuck is going on with this chick? Why'd she stay?
She's just here stalking me. Right. She enrolled in my high school.
This is wild.
It's like
this
horror movie.
Crazy. Yeah, it is.
And then she won't even have sex with him.
Is that part of it?
Yeah, remember they're at the drive-in movie theater.
Yeah.
And he's like trying to hook up with her, and then she smacks him and walks out of the car.
After the summer lovin'?
I don't think they had sex.
He lies and tells all of his friends they had sex, but they didn't.
That's
wow,
a bad
what
move.
a fucking douchebag. And then they wind up together at the end. In the end,
he said they had sex over the summer.
he implies it, and Summer Loving, he applies it.
Yeah, but that's what you do. You know, that's the
She-
guy
he's-
move.
he
My
says-
girlfriend
he
lives
says-
abroad. She's a model.
Right. He says, we made out under the dock, and she says, we stayed out till 10 o'clock.
Yes.
And then he goes, she was great. You know what I mean.
Yeah, it is. That's a guy thing. Like, guy lies.
Yeah.
That's a guy lie.
Well, she's not
you
even,
know?
she's in Australia.
Right,
and
it doesn't harm anyone. She's
Right.
going back to, Kangaroo Town.
Wow. Is Danny Zuko...
I'm going to come back from Australia. I'll be like, oh, I fucked all over Australia. And then everyone there will be like, no, he just ate Vegemite. He never talked to anyone.
Wow.
I mean, my whole show about going to Europe, I'm doing so the new show that I'm doing is about going to Europe and not fucking.
Okay. You can tell it in Australia?
I'm going to do it
Yeah,
all over
yeah.
Australia, how I went to Europe and didn't fuck one woman.
And you get an hour out of that?
Got an hour out of my dad calling me fat.
You did.
So
it was impressive, yeah.
We're on our way. What are we talking about today?
All right, we're going to play Petty or Prudent.
If you're in Australia, I'm coming. I'm here. New Zealand is this
Yeah,
week.
he's
and then
not coming
Australia.
back for a long time,
Yeah.
so you better see him.
These messages that are like, "Oh, you're coming here? I'm not coming to your living room, 2 years from now." This is it.
This is your one chance. Get the
What?
tickets.
Get the tickets. Assemble the group chat.
Okay, let's play the game.
Let's do it. Petty or Prudent? We love this.
All right. Hi, J&J. I heard your calls for Petty or Prudent submissions, and I have one that's been haunting me for years, since 2020 to be exact.
Ooh.
My ex completely blindsided me when he broke up with me. For context, we had been fighting a lot lately, so I knew we weren't in a great place, but I naively thought that we would work on it. He also threw me a completely random happy anniversary celebration and gave me chocolates, beautiful flowers, and cooked me an expensive dinner the night before he dumped me. It's your goodbye party.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware.
Bon voyage. And on your way out in the goodie bag is Bumble.
Yeah. I wasn't aware it was our 1-year anniversary as we had broken up and gotten back together, so the timeline was unclear. But he said he just wanted to do something special for me. We had a great time that night, and I was so happy. The very next night, he ended things with me out of the blue, saying he wasn't in love with me anymore. News to me. And I was so hurt that as he was still in mid-sentence of dumping me, I stood up, got a garbage bag, and started putting everything that he ever gave me in it. In hindsight, was it overly dramatic? Probably. Anyway, dramatic or not, I put everything in that garbage bag, including the box of chocolates and beautiful flower arrangement he had just given me the night before, and even a butter dish and a lady's rain jacket he gifted me for the Christmas prior. I handed it to him at the end of the night when he was finished and told him I didn't want any of these items and that he needed to figure out what to do with them. Like a gentleman, he took it with him. Of course. So, Petty or Prudent, you start collecting the breakup casualty items in a garbage bag while your ex-boyfriend is still mid-sentence saying, I just don't see this going any further because I don't love you anymore. Sincerely, Garbage Girl.
I will say this. It's funny we were just talking about looking at Grease from another angle.
Yeah.
If you look at this whole breakup from his angle, he's like, she cleaned up all her shit. She was gone mid-breakup.
Clearly wasn't that into it.
Well, no, I got off easy.
Oh, you're saying...
She got my shit. I didn't even have to go around. She cleaned up. I didn't even have
You're
to
saying
ask
this
her
is a
what's
bo-
mine
right.
and hers.
So
I didn't even have to split it up.
So you think he's thankful? He's not petty.
This
He's
is
like,
the best
this is
thing that
great.
ever happened to him. If I was like, hey, I think
You
we
would
should
like
talk,
that?
and she was
No.
like, oh, you want to talk? Here's your shit and go. I'll be like, oh, okay, cool. Well, see ya.
It wouldn't make you feel worse?
Here's the thing. She says, am I being overly dramatic? It's a little dramatic.
It's a little petty.
It's a little Spanish soap opera.
Yeah.
But I would also say it's not petty.
Not petty.
Not petty at all. I think you are allowed. First of all, two things. Let me go back a step. Can we stop saying you were blindsided?
You
when
broke.
you're
Said
in
you
a-
broke. It was a year. And you broke up before.
Right. You're
in
in
the year.
if you say in the same sentence, we were in an on again, off again relationship, and then I was blindsided.
Right.
You sound crazy.
I can see why she's like, why would he throw me a full anniversary dinner, chocolates? That does seem like strange behavior for someone who's going to break up with me the next day. You don't agree with that?
It's totally strange behavior. If you say it the next day that I was blindsided last night because we went to dinner.
Right. Because
it's now
of that.
5 years later. In the grand scheme of life, you are no longer blindsided.
Sure. In that, would you be expecting it that day? Probably not.
No. I think when you're telling the story today about your breakup in 2020 that came the night after, you can go,
here's
it
the
was
other thing.
weird, but I wasn't blindsided. We had a lot wrong in the relationship.
Here's the other thing. You could be doing this nice thing for the anniversary. The next day, doesn't mean you don't have problems in your relationship. People do nice shit for each other all the time while the relationship's a mess.
Right.
The next day, you get into a fight. It brings up the issue. Now's the time.
And you see you're out. You see the light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah, it's funny because like I love this email so much because like I want to let them know like you weren't blindsided, but I also want to let them know they weren't petty.
Okay.
You know, because I think like in the moment, of course that's dramatic. You just had this big dinner last night. You got stuff at their house. Like I think you're allowed to be like the Spanish soap actress. Oh, Dios míos, how could you? Why would you do this to me? We were eating dinner last night under the flowers. You know, like you can do that in the moment of the breakup.
Okay.
I give you that. I think none of this is petty. I think you're allowed to have emotions when you're broken up with. You're allowed to be surprised.
Right.
You're allowed to say all these things that remind me of you, make me angry, so I want them thrown away. That is kind of like what you sign up for when you break up with someone.
Right. Is it a little dramatic to do it in front of his face? Like
dramatic is different than petty
Sure.
to me.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know?
Yeah, I don't think if I broke up with someone and they did this to me, I don't think I would care either.
Let the baby cry itself out.
Now I don't have to come back for all my shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like this is
because you can't ask. It'd be petty if he was like. It would be petty if he broke up with her and said, "I don't love you anymore." And can I have all the stuff right now that I've left here? Do you mind if I go and pick it up? That would be petty.
Absolutely correct. I totally agree. Like if he's asking, it's one thing to go, here, take it. I can't have this. Like I can understand that.
It's like when the woman throws the ring at the man when they break up.
Right. It's a little stupid because you can keep the ring and sell it. But I would say this is actually prudent because you're doing all the things you should be doing. Get rid of the things that remind you of them. You're doing it right away. Mm-hmm. Like it's actually the most prudent thing she could do.
That's true. Yeah. All right. Well, prudent.
So I think
You've convinced me.
I actually think it's petty to call it a blindside today.
I'll give her the blindside because it does seem like a little extra, the dinner that he planned the night before.
I think
that would make me think if I had someone did that for me on our 1 year anniversary, I would think this person is enjoying the relationship.
Sure. Or, I mean, I guess a 1 year anniversary you didn't even know about. Right. And I'd be like, I don't know.
Why do you think he did that?
I think people like to try. I think that's his version of trying.
Okay.
Like I think when I've done like a nice gesture for someone that I'm like not sure about the relation, I don't think it goes that way.
Right.
Like,
in our minds, we're always looking for clues about like commit or about to leave.
Right.
Commit or about to leave.
I mean, I've gone like on apartment searches with people that I was like, I'm not sure if this is gonna work out. You know, so like.
Well, again, that's why Logan would have said on the show, like men are like, we're gonna get engaged or we're gonna break up.
Right, but it's also when I would do things like that, like these gestures, like it was probably selfish of me.
It's more for you than for them.
It's more for me to be like do the right thing rather than cause a fight that would cause us to work on it.
Okay.
Like, you know, tonight's our anniversary, but I'm not even feeling it right now. Like you and I, like we got issues that's like me trying to talk it out.
Right.
When you do the celebration of the anniversary, there's no talk out.
It's pushing things under the rug. Yeah.
Right. So again, this is horrifying for anyone to hear. Like you just don't know. Like,
well, that's the thing. It's like when can we feel safe?
Right. You can feel safe if someone like
when could someone feel safe dating you?
I think no, never. I think of my parents a lot with this scenario. My parents argue about everything, but they're talking.
Right.
You know, they're arguing.
That's why I said in the last episode, like.
Right.
Couples who never fight, that's not like a good sign.
And I'm so uncomfortable with arguments. I'm always a peacemaker. I was thinking about that the other day, just like
well, they argue because they feel safe.
They feel safe, and then they also are at the table, the imaginary negotiation table.
Mm-hmm. But they feel safe enough to argue with the person. They're not
right.
like, if I bring up this annoying thing that you just said, I'm not going to never see you again.
Right. Weird way to get divorced after 40-something years of marriage. Right. He was annoying in that fight.
Well, I'm saying, at what point do you feel like you can feel safe? I guess never. I mean, someone could leave you at any point. We just said that. We just said that.
Well,
right? You can always leave. You can always leave.
I think of my brother though. Like my brother, you know, he can be a miserable fuck. and I'm like, I'm so uncomfortable by being miserable around like my partner.
Okay.
You know, and
maybe you don't feel safe.
Right. My brother like wears it. You
Yeah,
know?
I mean, that's a relationship.
And I kind of respect that about it. I respect that about it. I envy it. Because he's
past the point of putting on a show.
Yeah. But he's never really put on a show. You know, like he can't.
Okay.
I can. You know, so, and I'm like, maybe, and I've, you know, the reflective part of me goes, you know, I wish I could like sip a little of that.
Like be yourself?
I don't know if that would be myself. I don't know. I've never been that way. I've never been.
What do you mean practically? Like, what are you talking about exactly?
I guess like if you're willing to do that in a relationship, if you're willing to just be like, kind of just like in a bad mood in a relationship.
You've never been in a bad mood in a relationship?
I don't have a memory of. I've always been told, and this might be a bad thing, that I have like a lot of patience. Like it's been something that has been told of me, and I'm not trying to like give myself.
Is that one of those like critiques that's actually a compliment?
Right. Like I
too patient.
I'm just too patient,
kind.
too humble, too
Yeah.
too loving, too.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a bad thing to be very patient. Like I don't like it about myself. Like I'm so patient that I'm
like,
willing
saying,
to
yes,
like
man.
make myself worse off and resent something rather than say it.
Right, because you're not. Well, that's the thing. You're not like really. You're not really patient. You're. They think of you as patient, but you're actually just bottling stuff.
Right. I'm
bottling secret resentments. Do you have any? For
I'm
me?
empathetic. Is there anything on you? Let me get the list out. No, I'm empathetic. I think that's the more positive way to look at it.
Right.
The patience is bottling up. Yeah, probably. But
maybe you should be less patient in your 40s.
I think that's my new vibe.
Yeah, let it all out.
If I had patience, I'd be a doctor. That's what my dad always said.
Let us know exactly what you think of all of us.
I'll come in with. I'll write something out next. I'll do that. That'll be my homework on my trip to New Zealand and Australia.
Yes, write up like 3 things that you've been bottling in that have been really irritating you for a while.
Perfect.
That's gonna be a recipe for a great show.
Let's do another email. You ready?
Let's hear it.
J&J, love the pod. Thanks for all you do. I'm a 29-year-old female who has become the sole source of entertainment at the brunch table, navigating the dating world for the past 3 years. I went out with a guy 3 times last year and ended it after getting the ick of him going too fast. Bouquet of flowers day 2, telling me how he couldn't stop talking about our first date to his friends, saying how meeting me gave him the motivation for a new health kick.
What does
I'm
that
losing
even
all this
mean?
weight with 3 dates. And he's like, I'm eating apples now. Just looking at me with wedding bells in his eyes. I guess all the things that may have been okay if I was just more into him. But for 2 dates, I couldn't see past
This
it.
does seem like a lot for 2 dates.
It's a lot.
Give her that, yeah.
I mean, excitement is kind of cool if you were both excited, but you just weren't. We really did hit it off, she says. So I gave it another try. Date 3, he brought me to Dave & Buster's and paraded me around holding my hand from game to game like I was his middle school girlfriend. I wanted to vomit in embarrassment.
Because he held your hand? That doesn't seem that weird. 3rd date holding hands is kind of cute.
But if you don't like him.
Right. Well, that's all that's what I'm saying.
He could put a ring on
her
his finger.
All she needs to say is, like, I don't like him.
Right. I mean,
like, nothing she's saying is that crazy.
Well, this is the holding hands. The way she wrote it is the way she tells it at the brunch table.
Parading me
around, and everyone's like, what a loser. You know, like, this is the fun.
Why'd you go on the 3rd date?
Because he checked a lot of boxes.
Yeah.
And again, we've talked about this before. He is a good guy who I'm out there 3 years single, complaining to my friends. I think a lot of women specifically get afraid that they're going to lose the ability to complain about their dating life if they say no to someone who checks a lot of boxes.
Yeah.
Because then they come to the brunch table and someone can always cut them at the knees and go, well, you had the Dave & Buster's guy. You couldn't just go with him.
Well,
he's pretty good.
Right. It can
Moms do that.
Right. But it can kind of feel like, are you looking for someone who treats you like shit? Because those seem to be the guys that you're into.
Well,
like
this is the problem. Like you go, I don't want to like guys who treat me like shit.
Right.
But those are the ones I get to complain about to you guys, and now you won't let me because there's this nice guy out there who you're gonna push me towards that I couldn't see myself fucking ever. Mm-hmm. I think that's like the hardest part about like
it's hard, but like I think that's the question, and only she will really know this. Is like, does she not like this guy because he's into her, or does she not like him anyway?
Right. That's a deeper issue, I guess, for a therapist.
Right.
Like that's the oh my God, I gotta look in the mirror a little bit.
Yeah.
I think this is why she got the ick. Is she's pushing through not liking him.
Right. Well, it's like hard to separate, right? It's hard to separate. Would I like you if you weren't doing these things?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, but this is him.
Right.
And yeah, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. But still found myself sleeping with him after to get my final answer. So she sleeps with him after Dave and Buster's.
Yeah. Well, they're in a relationship now.
The sex chemistry was 10 out of 10. But even in the moment, I couldn't look past the ick.
See, to me, that sentence doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand how you could describe the sex as a 10 out of 10 with someone that you felt an ick with. Like, and maybe that's just me and my, like, the way that my emotions are tied to sex. If I didn't like someone, if I was, like, turned off by them, I could never describe the sex as a 10 out of 10.
That's interesting.
I don't really see how it works for her.
I could see why he's at his best.
Sure, I'm sure he's performing well.
Right, he's fucking this woman that he holds on a pedestal. He's probably rock hard.
Right.
He's waltzing in there, bringing all his tricks. He's treating her like a goddess. He's going down on her. He's doing everything.
That you're right. That the good lover is supposed to do.
Oh my God! Soft touch of the fingers.
Yeah, I could see him calling it a 10 out of 10.
Arms. He put on the music playlist. He probably had a candle lit.
Could you
washed his sheets?
Could you describe sex with a woman that you were like not really into as a 10 out of 10?
No,
that's what
it would be tough.
That's what I'm saying. It just makes, to me, there's something off about that statement. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it doesn't. So you can imagine how I felt when right after the sex, he asked if this meant we were exclusive. He really wanted to lock her down. I explained this was going too fast for me, and he said he understood, but just felt confident in knowing what he's looking for. The next day, I sent a text that it wasn't going to work out, and he acted so blindsided that I wound up going to his place to talk after 3 dates. Yeah, it happens. It's not so crazy. She wrote a talk after 3 days in caps. Fast forward a few months with some ghosting and situationships in between. I'm feeling at a loss with my dating life. I can't help but feel like I pushed this guy away so fast for the wrong reasons. Since I've been on his end before getting invested too quickly, a part of me thought to reach out for coffee. But if he were to agree, I fear that I will realize this was just me acting on some loneliness and then really being the asshole here. Help, a Dave or busted bitch.
What do you think? I feel like you have occupied her role
absolutely
a lot in the past.
I think,
she kind of thinks like, oh, maybe why didn't it work out with that guy? They got enough distance, but she doesn't want to go back and then change her mind and be the one who brought them in.
Listen, I deal with this in my own life. I have people I think of like, why'd I end that? And it's moments of loneliness that I think about that. Here's my going policy. If you guys ran into each other and it was natural, that would be like a way, kind of more okay. You run into each other.
You'll be less held to the fire predatory. If it ended.
Yeah,
yes.
But if you reach out to him, and I have this thought when I think of reaching out to someone from my past, I go, my body told me not to. My body. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to take the things I liked about them and use those things to develop my own taste. I'm going to try and be a better dater who realizes quicker these people that I get in situationships with rather than the people that I had good experiences with, and try to be better for the next person. But if I was to run into the person and we hit it off and had a nice conversation, that would be my entree into like, oh, maybe there was something there. If I felt something, like that would be different.
I think that's a great way to go about it. And I think that it's a lot less, because like when you reach out of nowhere, I think you do owe the person more. You really can't do that unless you know what you want. Mm-hmm. If you run into someone,
know what you want with them.
Yes.
It can't be I want a boyfriend now.
No, with them.
No, I have thought of
boyfriend
you
or fuck off.
Right. This is it.
And if I were this guy, the last time we spoke, I asked you to be exclusive. You're coming back now. What's different?
Here's the problem. He won't be that. If he was that gung-ho,
it would be a turn off.
But that's the problem. There's like a couple options. He's grown up and he doesn't like how they ended, but he still sees something in her, and he's like, explain why you want to come back here. I think there's a less chance of that, and there's more of a chance of him being like, I've been waiting for you to come back. This is amazing. You know, I've always thought of you. And then she's going to go back to like, fuck, it came too easy.
Well, that's the thing. I think, and that would be the frustrating part, because they always come back for me.
For what they had before.
They always come back, right? You come back, and then it feels like to the person who wanted you more in the first place, who probably still wants you more, it feels like you just came back to know you could, just to know that you still had the option,
right?
And then once you had it, you didn't really want it. You just wanted to know that you could, if you could have it if you wanted it.
And that person on the other side of that, the person who's coming back, you're going to feel guilty. You're going to like...
You should.
And you should, but you're going to be with someone probably longer than you would have. You're probably going to like stay in that, and you're going to like hate it, and you're going to feel... right, and you're going to feel that you owe someone... It's going to be... The dynamic is going to be off for you.
Right.
So
I agree. If it's organic, you owe the person less.
Right. Organic, it's like...
You happen to meet, right.
And again, you can't
Sparks
hope for that. You have to accept that.
Also, if it's organic, if it's an organic run-in, you can sort of get a taste of what it's like to be in their presence again without having to have arranged it yourself.
Right. And I'm not saying you can, again, it's called organic. You can't like arrange for this
you can't
to happen.
Stalk them and
this
then
is like
show
that's
up
a very rom-com move.
Right.
Is to like, oh, well, I see that they go to this place. But
Right.
I'm just saying, like, if that were to happen, if the sun, the moon, the stars, and again, you can do whatever you want. She can reach out to him if she wants.
Yeah, be an asshole, whatever. It's 2025. That's cool now.
Right. I just think that she's writing this because she knows the answer.
She knows she doesn't really want to be with him. She knows she's just lonely. That's why she wrote it.
Right.
Is it fucked up if I just come back and it appears that I just did it because I'm lonely? And she says, here's the reason why I think she should see a therapist anyway. And she says, after a few months with some ghosting and situationships in between, situationships to me happen, and we've discussed this before. One person is commitment avoidant and the other person is low self-esteem. And it seems like she's not interested. Part of the reason she didn't like the other guy, and I say this because she said the sex was a 10 out of 10, and I just don't think you get that if you don't like the person at all. She doesn't like someone who's that into her. That's a little bit of it.
And that's a self-esteem issue. That's like, how could they be into me like that?
How great could they be? They like me a lot.
Right. That's, listen, I've been there. I get that. So.
Yeah, and I can relate to that too. But I think like I would, instead of texting him, I would text a professional. And then if you really want to do it after speaking to that person for a while, maybe.
There we go. We solved dating again.
We did it. We'll be back next week.
Boom.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Kate McAuliffe is our senior producer. Our editor is Emily Freed. Candace Maniga is our senior social producer. Our associate producer is Will Maxwell. Additional production help from Shannon Jimenez Sasson. Be sure to follow us at u.up.podcast and send us your emails to uup@betches.com.